I love how like you recognize this 2019 marker, because since 2019, and obviously we all know what's happened, but it's harder to attract people. It's harder to keep people. People cost a lot more. And yet we're looking at things like, how do we improve lifetime customer value? And so this is a metric out there that dovetails with what are we getting in terms of retention on people, retention on customers. So long-term customer value or lifetime customer value is a key metric. Mm-hmm. We use it to define performance and also to really drive targeting for marketing spend, right? Loyalty rewards, specials, add-ons, part of that customer-facing group of people. It's a number, and thus we pull really hard from multiple data silos to develop actionable insights around it. So like here we are in our left brain and we're crunching numbers and we're trying to understand it. But from a qualitative perspective, this number is influenced hugely by culture, consistent brand representation again, employee experience. Can you pull back the curtains of like the importance of affiliating lifetime customer value with the right approach towards people in the organization?
100%. Statistically, it's been proven that the cost for attracting new customers versus retaining an existing customer is huge. It's anywhere from up to 25 times the amount to bring in new customers
than to keep one.
Right? Than retaining your existing customers. And interestingly, it's been shown that 80% of future profits are more likely to come from 20% of existing customers. So why not continue to nurture your existing customers? And in the same way, so I see employees as your first line customer, your internal customer. So in the same way, why not invest in your current employees and educate them, engage with them, train them, give them what they need, because the retention of your employees is going to also exponentially reduce your costs, both for what you need for your employees and everything that's follows the journey line for that. But it's going to also then impact your customer, because as we said at the top, right, how your employee feels affects your customers. And 73% of customers actually say that a friendly customer experience will make them fall in love with your brand. And when someone's fallen in love with your brand, you're creating brand loyalty. And of course, we know, brand loyalty, what that does, they're going to go out and give great reviews, which influence not only new customers, but also repeat customers. It's like dominoes, right? Like it just keeps going and going and going. The goodness keeps going, and also potentially the harm or the damage, right? What you bring in. So,
I was just going to say that like you hit like on the high notes of employee retention, customer retention, brand loyalty. But in the last 36 months, the impact of not a net promoter, but a net detractor, and the impact of people who leave brands on one bad experience, not to return for a minimum of 2 years, and that is the mark of how customers are sensitive to that experience. So if you are dealing directly with your people, and your people are those brand ambassadors, right? They may have tasks to perform, upgrade somebody, help them with a customer service problem. But if they're first and foremost incredibly aware of the brand, and like you mentioned before, the mission, they know exactly how to articulate the value proposition to that customer and ensure that they feel that experience. Because you've mentioned feel a few times. When people they get onto a call, they usually get into a call because they have a problem. They're already rankled, and nobody has any time whatsoever in a day to deal with problems. And so they compound that misery.
Mm.
And so one bad experience can send a person off the edge. And because they have the ability to search for who the next competitor is, they can immediately get into a conversation with somebody, not to talk about a problem, but to talk about new business. And how happy is that other company to talk about new business? It's going to be a good experience.
Right, exactly. And, Frank, you find C-suite always talking about their bottom line. Well, bottom line is that your customer retention is the most important thing. Your 5% increase, for example, just 5% in your customer retention actually increases profitability by 75%. Bain & Company showed that. And so the bottom line is your people ultimately. And, you talk about people complaining and being disgruntled and unhappy. A large percentage, 78%, will actually bail on a transaction after having a bad experience. And you're really lucky as a company if someone complains, because the truth is that 96% of people will just take their business elsewhere. They're just going to walk. It's like, I've already wasted so much time. I cannot tell you, I get a visceral reaction. I'm like almost sick when I have to call in for a problem, because it takes hours out of my day, and and nobody's empowered to do anything about it. It's just, and then you get disconnected, or you get sent someone else, and then I've learned to ask for the supervisor pretty quickly, and they're always busy. So they'll call you back. No one ever calls you back. I mean, that doesn't produce brand loyalty. But going back to this really important 96% number, breaking that down, think about it. Out of 100 people, you have only 4 people who are going to take the time to let you know where you can improve on your business. 4 out of 100. That's mind-boggling, right? And look how easy it is to flip that number instead. If you just show them that you care and give them opportunities to reach you and to really listen and show that you authentically want to provide good service. That's why you're in business. You're not there to make them miserable and go to your competitor. So, gosh, I so agree with what you're saying. And I think people lose sight of how important that is, that to maintain lifetime customer value, lifetime employee value. Again, the two are connected, and you have to first really think of, how do we take care of our internal customer so that they're taking care of our external end customer?